I think that we're sleeping on UConn a little too much as the potential first back-to-back national champions since Florida in 06,
Mm.
07. I think that we're not talking enough. Like, I think Danny Hurley has the goods. I mean, there's so much talk about like the old generation moving out. Like, Patino is still kind of like one of the last holdovers. Boeheim's gone. Coach K's gone. Roy, like all these coaches that we grew up defining the sport with, they've moved on. And like, who's that next generation? Like, it can't just be Nate Oates and Eric Musselman. I think we're kind of sleeping on Danny Hurley being next up and being like that guy. Like, I think he's got a crazy playbook. I think his style resonates with players. I think he's just insane enough to thrive in this new college basketball environment. So I think, I mean, like I'm kind of big on UConn this year. I know Klingon's been a little bit banged up. If assuming he's healthy enough to play a full season and be good to go, like I think that they check most of the boxes you need to
Yeah, that's
be
yeah,
6 wins in 2 3 weeks.
yeah. Klingon's foot, it's a foot deal, right? Like that's the injury
Yeah.
that bothers me a little bit. Having big guys with foot injuries, they don't exactly just like heal, and especially over the course of a season. But he's fucking awesome. They got Cam Spencer from Rutgers, who was like Rutgers offense for stretches last year, where they would just look to Cam Spencer and be like, "Please score," and he's like, "All right, I'll do it." I'm worried. I love those three guys that they lost so much, Sonogo and Jackson and Hawkins. I loved them so much, and I'm worried they're gonna miss them. But I think you're right about Hurley that the old school is out and the new school is coming in. I think he's like the perfect representation of basically an old school guy who understands the new. Like he's like the perfect. He's like just a younger version of an old school coach. So he's like perfectly suited to, in a world where like Hubert Davis, I sometimes feel like Hubert Davis is like too nice, and like this world of coaches like wanting to be buddy with all their players, which is not really a criticism of Hubert Davis. That's just like one of the first ones that come to mind is like Hubert Davis needed to motherfuck North Carolina at times last year, and I feel like he couldn't do that. Dan Hurley has like the perfect combination of like being a player's coach, but also being willing to motherfuck his guys, and that would excite me if I was I mean, UConn people don't need to be told that their coach is awesome, but like that's pretty encouraging moving forward when you do think about the landscape of coaches, I would say. So I think I agree with you. I'm just worried about Klingon's foot more than anything else.
He also, I mean, I saw that like I wish I could give this person credit, but there's somebody who tracks all the plays like that every college basketball team runs. He keeps track of like a coach's playbook, and they came to the conclusion that like Danny Hurley has more different plays or ran more different plays last year than any coach in college basketball. I mean, he comes from, I read that book, The Miracle of St. Anthony, back in the day by Woj,
Mm-hmm.
about his dad at St. Anthony. And like, you realize like his dad is just like a basketball genius, like a legit guy who could have coached anywhere he wanted to for a long time. And that's how he and his brother grew up, learning from him. And so I think you're right. He's got the perfect combination of legit basketball acumen, like great X's and O style. I think he resonates with the kids. I think he's fucking crazy, which is a good thing
Yeah.
in the best possible way. I mean, we've talked about that at Louisville. Like you need a coach at a job like Louisville, and I think also at a job like UConn, who's like a little bit insane.
Nuts,
Who's going?
yeah.
It's a weird thing to say, but like you have to kind of put it above everything in your life. And I think Chris Mack is a really good basketball coach. I think he'll resurface at some point in the next couple of years. But I don't think he ever put Louisville basketball ahead of like his family, which it's weird to say. Like you kind of have to do it a little bit. It's a 24/7 job. Like I think John Calipari, Rick Pitino, some of the other coaches that have thrived at these places, like they cared more, and whether they admit it or not, they cared more about their teams winning than they cared about anything else in their lives.
Yeah.
And that's why they were so good and why the fans love them so much. And I think Danny Hurley is kind of the same way.